Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an hour of gentle yoga. I'm Judith. So today I would like to start slow, really slow. And then we will move a little bit more. So we will lay on the floor. If you like, you can grab a blanket, whatever blanket, and put it on your mat. So if you can do it lengthwise, we will actually glide a little bit on the mat, on the floor. All right. Then we come down, just laying on the floor. So we start in Shavasana. So getting comfortable, wiggling a little bit the hips, arms along the body. Certainly if you feel your low back, you can bend the knees. Otherwise, straighten the legs, straighten the arms, and then allow your body to drop. Maybe close your eyes if that is comfortable. And then check in how you're doing, how you feel, how your body feels. And it's one thing how the body feels. Maybe you feel any aches or tightness. But then also when we check in deeper or more, we might feel our nervous system. So sometimes when we become really still in our body, we might be able to feel a sensing of this nervous system. If you like, you can bring a hand to your belly, to your chest. And then from here, checking in with your breath, which can actually help if it's not easy to switch from doing to just being and listening. So feeling how your belly lifts with an inhale and how it lowers with an exhale. So for the first part, we try to get still, to become still in our mind. So practice our listening skills so that we can deeply listen when you do the movement, that we can listen how the same muscles are feeling, the joints. Sometimes we can feel maybe the ligaments, the tendons, then also the heartbeat, the nerves. Take another breath. And then we take 3 deep breaths together. Let's inhale all the way in through the nose. And if you like, exhale through your mouth. We do 2 more. Big inhale all the way in. And exhale. If you like, you can make a big sound. 1 more. Inhaling. And exhale. And then come back to a more natural breath. And then from here, bend your knees. Bring the knees to the chest. Maybe bring the hands around the knees, pumping the knees a few times. And then maybe wrapping the arms around, or just holding the knees and rolling from side to side. You may be letting the head roll to the opposite side. Notice how that feels. What do you sense? Which parts of your body is touching the ground? Can you feel the neck, shoulders? It's going on in the low back. Then we come back to center. We bring the feet down. We have the knees bent. And then we work a little bit on moving the spine. So the spinal undulation, rocking the hips back and forth. So with an exhale, we pull the belly in, the low back presses flat. And then with an inhale, we arching the low back and create a little bit space underneath the low back. And then with an exhale, the belly draws in. Maybe the tailbone lifts a tiny bit, the low back presses down. And then inhale, we arch the spine. Maybe now even the low ribs move away from the ground. So find your own rhythm. Notice how that feels in your spine. And you can do this slow or very slow. With the idea of slowing down, feeling here, maybe every single vertebrae moving. And maybe they don't. But we aim for it. We try to isolate body parts. But then actually we also notice that the rest of the body moves as well, because we're one unit. So if you like, you can add a little bit more when you come into an arching. And then when you come into the flattening with an exhale, you can press the heels a little bit more down. And then inhale, you arch the spine, the feet become a little bit lighter. And exhale, the low back presses, the heels press. And then let's move the head as well. So after your next exhale, when the low back presses down, then with an inhale, when you arch your spine, let the chin come towards the chest. And then when you exhale and the low back presses down, the heels press down, let the chin lift up a little bit. So the rest of the body, try to soften the shoulders, the arms. Movement is coming from the core, the spine, legs a little bit helping. And then we allow that neck, the head to move. Maybe one or two more. And we release. Right. From here we straighten the legs. And then we bring one arm into a cactus position. And then we just move the arm. So first allow the body again to drop. And then with your next inhale, lift that one arm over your head. And then with an exhale, bring it back into a cactus position and let it drop. We do about 2 or 3 more. So with an inhale, there's an engagement, doing it slow, moving. Notice how that shoulder feels. And then with an exhale, we glide back and let it drop. Inhale, we're getting engaged, reaching as far as you can. And then with an exhale, we're releasing the arm. And then one more. Reaching. And we let it drop. Come back. And we release the arms along the side, checking in, and we're switching arms. Here with an inhale. So first actually let's just drop the whole body. The legs, let them drop. Of course you can bend the knees in case you feel your low back. And then just try to move the arm. That second arm over your head, reaching, and then with an exhale gliding back, releasing, letting it drop. Inhale, we're reaching up. And then exhale, we're letting it drop. Do 2 more. So notice how this side feels different than the other. Do you feel difference in the quality of the movement? around the shoulder, around the neck, maybe also in your range of motion. And release. Bring both arms along the body, taking a breath here. Then coming back to the first side, again the arm goes into a cactus. And then from here we also let the leg glide. So same side arm, same side leg. So with an inhale we reach that one arm over our head and we reach into the same side heel. So we're getting long on that side and maybe the head moves a little bit. And then with an exhale we come back to neutral and let go. Inhale, we're reaching. In case it feels good, maybe you reach a little bit more. You reach into the heel and then exhale, we let it go. And then 2 or 3 more. So getting long with an inhale. Maybe now you check out your range of motion, the heel, the arm, and release. Try to, so keep moving with your breath. With an inhale you get engaged. With an exhale you soften. Try to let the rest of the body be soft and moving wherever it wanna go. Last one on this side. So then reaching into the heel, into the arm, getting long, and release. And we're switching. So first a breath in Shavasana, checking in how it feels. And then bringing the second arm along your head in a cactus. And then with an inhale, reaching into that same side leg, the heel. And then with an exhale, gliding back, letting go. Inhale, getting long into the heel, into the arm, and let go. So about 3 more. So notice how that feels, not only in the leg, in the arm, but then in the same side joints, the shoulders, actually the shoulder, the hip, the low back, and release. So coming back into Shavasana. Arms along the body, legs just roll to the side. Alright, we add a little bit more. So first side arm in a cactus. And now we bend the opposite knee, bringing the foot down. We add a little bit of a rolling. So now with an inhale, when you reach into that one side arm and the heel, then let that bent knee come over towards the lengthening side and let that hip lift up as well. And then with an exhale, come back to center and let go. Soften the shoulder, the heel, the hips. And then inhale. So I'm actually reaching into my right side and then the left knee comes towards the midline, the left hip reaches up. And exhale. Maybe you do the other side first, it doesn't matter. So about 3 more. And if it feels good in your body, allow your body to fully get engaged on that inhale. And then with an exhale, soften. So when you inhale, you reach. So maybe even that opposite hand reaches down towards that bent knee. And then an exhale, let go. So we do 1 more. Inhale, getting fully engaged, getting long on that one side. Arching the spine. And exhale. Coming back to Shavasana. Checking in. So notice how the hips feel, the shoulders, the neck. And we're switching. So second side, the arm goes into a cactus. We bend the opposite knee. Foot down. And we try to keep that foot down all the time. Now with an inhale, we're reaching into the arm, into the leg, into the heel, and then the opposite knee comes to midline, to center. The hip lifts and release. With an inhale, getting long and rolling over, letting the hip lift up and exhale, let go. About 3 more. So check in how that feels. So maybe you keep the movement a little bit smaller, softer. Actually always should be soft. Or maybe you reach more, you arch, maybe you add the opposite arm and release. And one more. Inhale, reach, let the head drop, and exhale, let go. Alright. Coming back to Shavasana. Taking another breath. Notice how your hips feel, the low back. And then from here we bend the knees. And we come back to this movement of the spine. So with an exhale, the belly draws in, the tailbone, maybe lifts, the low back presses down. And then with an inhale, we arch the spine. Move with your breath. And then we use or add the arms as well. So with your next inhale, when you arch the spine, bring your arms over your head. And then with an exhale, now when you round, if you can, lift the head, reach the arms forward. And then with an inhale, we arch the spine, arms over the head. Exhale, we're rounding, reaching forward. Maybe the tail will lifts a little bit. And then inhale, arch. So do a few more. Move with your breath. Feel your core working, so abdominals. But also how it gets slightly stretched on the inhale when you arch the spine. One more round. And with the next inhale, keep the arms over your head. And then come to a neutral spine. Widen the feet a little bit more. And then let the knees drop from side to side. If the arms don't feel comfortable, you can bring them more out in a cactus. Maybe gently pressing the knees into the ground when the knees are on the side. So maybe you're also coming a little bit into this arching what we did before. And we come back to center. Again, keep the knees bent, walk them a little bit closer. And here actually, so I notice I'm gliding on the blanket, but that's okay. This time let's actually bring the hands behind the head with the elbows wide. And then with your next exhale, bring the elbows up and curl. With an inhale, arch your spine. And then with an exhale, when you curl, bring the arms over towards one side. Inhale, coming back to center, widening the elbows, arch your spine. And then with an exhale, curling up over towards the other side. Inhale, back to center, arch your spine. And then do a few more. Maybe with eyes closed. Doing this slow or very slow. Noticing your low back, the spine. Can you feel what is working in your body? What is stretching? Don't think of this like primarily as a core workout. You're doing this slow with the goal to calm down the nervous system. Maybe you're done, maybe you do one or two more. Maybe you explore how far you come over towards the side, or how much you reach towards the legs. And then when you're all done, release the arms wherever they want to go, and then let's come into bound ankle pose. So let the knees drop, the soles of the feet come together. Taking a couple of breaths. You're breathing into your belly. Again, checking in how you feel. Take one more breath. All right. Bringing the knees together. And then from here, if it works for you, a rock and roll back and forth. Or you just roll towards the side. And we lift up. Right. And then from here, we move the blanket away. We do a little bit on the hands and knees, so you're welcome to use it for your knees if you like. And then from here, we come into tabletop. So hands underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. And then let's move a few rounds through cat and cow. So with an exhale rounding, and then with an inhale arching your spine. Exhale, bringing the chin to the chest. Inhale, arching, leading from the chest, bringing the chest forward. So with an exhale, we come into cat. So the mid-spine presses up. And then with an inhale, we come into cow. Letting the belly drop, mid-spine lowers, arches. So notice how this feels. Move on your own pace. We did that before on the ground, laying on the back. But now notice how your spine is more free to move. And maybe for some of us, this freedom is not the best thing. And you have to be careful not to overarch and overdo it. Alright, and then from here let's come into a free movement. So drawing circles with the hips. Or any movement that feels good in your body. Allowing the shoulders to be soft. The elbows move. And go the other way. Coming back to center. And then from here, tabletop. And then into downward facing dog. So hands a little bit more forward. Spreading all the fingers, grounding them down. Tucking toes, lifting knees and reaching back. And first, yes, if you like, of course, walking your dog, any movement, then please feel free to do so. But then again, find some stillness. So getting engaged. So the knees can always be bent. We reach the hips back, the heels, they reach down towards the ground. They don't have to touch. We firm the arms. And we come back to that listening. What's going on in our body? We do that downward facing dog so often. What's the quality today in our body? Take another breath. And from here we bring the knees down. Then we come into child's pose. Any version of child's pose. So knees can be wide or together. Arms forward or along the body. Try to reach the hips back towards the heels. Take another breath. And from here, we're lifting back up. Coming back into downward facing dog. Taking another breath. And with the next inhale, we lift the heels. And then exhale, we reach them down. Let's do two more. Inhale, lifting the heels. Exhale, we reach them down. And then one more. And from here, walk the feet forward or the hands back. Forward folded. Knees can be bent, feet hip width apart, maybe more. Letting the head go. So letting the head be heavy, shaking the head low. And yes.
Then bending the knees a lot, tailbone down, belly hollows, head is heavy, and we roll up.
Alright. And we come to a standing. We come into our mountain pose. Alright, so feet about hip width apart, getting long, checking in. So lifting into the crown of the head, lifting into the chest. Shoulders slightly back. And then with an inhale, we're lifting the arms. Let's interlock fingers if that works. If not, have the arms apart, reaching up. Getting long. If you feel your low back, pull the belly in a little bit, make the tailbone long. Take one more breath, grounding into the heels, reaching into the heels of the hands. And then with an exhale, we come towards the right or one side. Inhale, we come back to center. And exhale towards the other side. 2 more. So moving with your breath, arms apart is another option. Getting long, breathing, and release. Alright. Rolling shoulders. Checking in how that feels. Maybe going for big circles. Maybe feeling the shoulder blades moving. And the other way. Right. Then from here, let's come to the front of the mat. And we move through a half sun salutation. So we start in mountain pose. Before we start, let's actually lift all the toes. That's always wonderful to actually activate the inner arches of the feet. And then we bring the toes down, but we push still into the mounds of all the toes. And then with an inhale, we're lifting the arms. With an exhale, we come to a forward fold. So we hinge from the hips, the spine stays straight. And then we can round, the knees can always bend. Inhale, we lift halfway, straight arms, straight legs, straight spine. And then exhale, we soften, forward fold. And then with an inhale, we're lifting up all the way. Bring the arms up. And exhale, hands to the heart. And to the side. And then one more. Inhale, we're lifting up the arms. Exhale, a forward fold. Inhale, we're lifting halfway. Lifting the head a little bit, not cranking it back. And then exhale, we fold. Then inhale, we're lifting up all the way. Bring the arms up. And exhale, hands to the heart. And to the side. Alright. From here, let's glide 1 foot back and coming into a warrior 1. So warrior 1, we try to keep the hips more level to the front of the mat. And the feet are on 2 tracks. Front foot points forward, the back foot slightly to the side, so that you can actually bring the back heel down. Bending the knee, bring the belly in. Lifting the toes of the front foot, bring them down. Lifting the back foot. The toes of the back foot, bring them down, grounding into the outside of that back heel. If it works for you, lifting the arms. Getting long in your tailbone, belly pulls in. Then let's move a little bit. So bringing the arms in a cactus position. So we're inhaling here, try to draw the shoulder blades down. And then with an exhale, we're rounding, belly draws in, arms together. And then inhale, we're opening up the chest. And then exhale, maybe fists hugging. And then inhale, opening up. So about 1 or 2 more. Moving with your breath. Alright, and release. And then from here, let's come into a humble warrior. So interlocking the fingers behind your back, if that works, or you use a strap or a towel. You also can keep your hands on the hips. Inhaling, and then with an exhale, we come to a forward fold. So any amount, maybe you just lean forward, lots of support on your core. Maybe you come down a little bit more, letting the head hang. Maybe lifting the arms, or you can keep the hands on the low back or on the hips. Still grounding into that back heel. Taking one more breath. Then bringing the hands on the hips. Pushing into both heels, lifting up. And we come forward. And we shake the legs and release. Switching legs. So first, finding our warrior one. Hips more level to the front of the mat. Front knee bend, front foot forward. Back foot that way that it's more pointing forward than to the outside, so we can bring the back heel down. Lifting arms if that works for you. Feeling a lot of support from the belly, drawing in the tailbone long. Whatever your warrior one looks today, so what do you feel? Does it help you to lift the toes and ground into the feet, bring the toes down, activating your inner arches? And then, let's add the movement of the upper body. So staying strong in our core, in our lower body, arching the spine, inhaling here, and then with an exhale, rounding, hugging in. And then with an inhale, arching off the spine. Exhale, rounding, hugging in. And then inhale, arching. Do about 3 more. And you do this movement slow. Notice what's going on in your body. And then 1 more. And release the arms. For our humble warrior, if you interlock fingers behind the low back, maybe change the way you cross, or you interlock fingers, so the other thumb is on top. Reaching the arms back, or keeping the hands on the low back. Belly draws in, and then coming forward any amount. Maybe staying here, maybe a little bit more. Maybe coming forward all the way, letting the head hang. Maybe lifting the arms, or maybe keeping the hands on the hips, maybe having the arms apart. So whatever works, breathing. 1 more breath. And then releasing the arms, hands on the hips, grounding into the feet, lifting up. And stepping forward. Right. And shaking the legs. And coming to mountain pose, pausing. Alright. And then from here, if you have blocks or books, let's bring them to the front of the mat. We're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So outside of the feet are parallel. Let's lift all the toes. Create your inner arches, bring the toes down, grounding into the outside of the feet. And then from here, come into a forward fold. So you can keep the hands on the hips. And then for the first one, maybe you release the arms, letting the upper body hang. So you always can bend the knees. And then maybe shake a little bit, shake your head, the arms. Take another breath. And from here we're lifting halfway up. And then we use the blocks and bring them underneath our shoulders. So in case the blocks are forward, your arms are forward, bring them in. And then choose the version of the blocks, so there are 3 settings, so that you can keep straight legs, straight arms and a straight spine. From here, let the crown of the head reach forward, and then lift one arm. And we haven't done a lot of twisting, a little bit of arching twisting. So just first lift it up, see how that feels. So our goal here is to stretch or twist around the straight spine. And with an exhale, lower that arm. And with an inhale, lifting up the other arm. Trailing it. And then we move with the breath. So with an exhale, the arm lowers. With an inhale, the other arm reaches up. Moving with the breath. With an exhale, come out of the twist. With an inhale, you come into the twist, and it's not only the arm, it's actually also the shoulder that is lifting up. And exhale back to center. So do a few on your own. So maybe every time you come a little bit deeper. So starting small. But whatever you do, listen. Listen what's going on. What does your body need? You can also let the head move, looking towards that moving hand. And then when you do two more, maybe then for this one you keep the head down, which is then kind of like a counter twist for the neck. And for the last one, so whatever works, try to let the crown of the head reach forward. And we release. Bending the knees, hands on the hips, and we lift up. Coming to a standing, and then from here into warrior two. So bending or reaching now one foot forward, bending that knee, and having the back foot, move these to the side, and having the back foot slightly pointing in. Checking in, lifting arms. So find your warrior two. Front knee gently pushes out to the pinky toe side, shoulders relax. There's a reaching into the fingers, but also a pulling together in the shoulder blades. You can keep your warrior two fairly soft, or you get a little bit more engaged. So whatever your body needs. Take one more breath. And then from here we're reaching forward. We're coming to a side angle pose. So the elbow can come above the knee. If you want to let your hips sink. And then the upper hand either stays on the low back or you bring the upper arm over your head. Getting the legs a little bit more engaged, you can pull the legs together. You can lean a little bit more back. So finding stability while you're stretching your legs, your hips. And from here we're lifting up, reaching up. And then let's add the triangle pose as well. So maybe shortening the stand a little bit, reaching forward. And then releasing the hand, pushing the leg into the hand pushes back, lifting that shoulder, lifting the arm, or keeping the arm down. What's going on in your body? What is working? What is stretching? And we bend the knee and we lift up. Shaking the legs, releasing. From here, let's come into a goddess pose. So here the feet point to the outside, the knees into the direction of the knees. Bring the hands on the legs. And for this first one, we just go from side to side, maybe allowing the hips to sink. And we release. All right. So goddess pose. Lifting the arms. Then let's add a little bit of a movement. So with an inhale, we're reaching up. Now with an exhale, we're bending the knees, the arms go wide, and we're rounding, letting the head hang. With an inhale, we're opening up, reaching, straightening the legs, any amount. Can always be a bend, a little bit. So with an exhale, we're coming down, there might be a rounding, a hugging, and then inhale, we're lifting up. And then we do about 2 more. Maybe the arms, the cross of the arm changes every time. And release. And we switch, coming to warrior 2 on the second side. So front knee is bent, outside of the back foot grounding into the heel, lifting the arms. So feeling your warrior 2, dropping the shoulders, reaching into the hands, maybe lifting the front toes, grounding them down, grounding into the outside of the back heel. And then from here, reaching in our side angle pose, the elbow above the knee, maybe sinking a little bit more into the hips, maybe leaning a little bit more back, and then bringing the upper arm over your head, if that works for you. So there's a lengthening, a grounding into the back heel. That lower hip kind of, hugs under a little bit. Take one more breath. And from here we lift up into a standing. And then for triangle, maybe we shorten the stand a little bit. Reaching forward, and while we already do that, engaging the leg, not overextending, but keeping it straight. And then the hand can help. You push the hand into the leg pushes back. Maybe you lift the upper arm. So what do you feel in your hips? And you feel that lengthening in your spine. The shoulders away from the ears. Grounding into the front foot, the mount of the big toe itself. Then we bend the front knee, we're lifting up. And we release again, shaking. Then we come back to goddess pose and add a little bit more of movement. So from this one, the elbows, arms lifted, plates. We're holding the plates. The belly draws in, there's a little bit of a lengthening of the tailbone, not a tucking under, just a little bit of that lengthening. And let's actually lift the arms up and turn the arms, the hands around, so as you wanted to push something away. And then from here, let's come over towards one side, and then let's draw circles. So coming down any amount, and then coming over towards the other side. So a few of these, maybe you do small circles, maybe you do big circles. Moving with your breath. Feeling the arching, the lengthening, the side lengthening. And then also kind of a little bit of twisting. Back to center when you're done. And then from here going over towards the other side. So moving with your breath. When you inhale, there's this opening, the reaching up. When you exhale, it's the rounding, the forward folding. Let's go one more round. Alright, and we release. We come back to center, and we shake the legs. Right. From here, let's turn around. And then we, like warrior 1, we glide one foot back, but this time it will be actually the reverse triangle pose. We start with pyramid. So if you like, you can bring blocks close around your front foot. And when you start, you have the feet on 2 tracks, grounding into both heels. That front hip comes a little bit more back. Keeping the hands on the hips or lifting the arms. So first you find a reaching up and then a leaning of a little bit back. So take a few breaths. If you feel your low back, certainly pull the belly in, lengthen the tailbone. Can you ground into both heels? Take one more breath. And from here we come back to center. We bring the hands on the hips and we come forward. Pyramid pose. So keeping the front legs straight, not locked, but straight. And then just checking in how far you can reach forward. And to come into this, you can actually come out and come in a little bit more. So pulsing your way into this pyramid pose. Feeling what's going on. It's a lot of stretch on the hamstring of that front leg, the back side. And then releasing the arm and either keeping the hands on the front leg or using blocks. Moving the shoulders away from the ears. Take another breath. The crown of that reaches forward. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. Either stay here with your straight spine or then allow to come a little bit deeper, releasing the arms, maybe walking the hands a little bit more forward. Lifting halfway up. Bring the hands on the hips, lifting up all the way. Releasing. Switching legs. So on 2 tracks, hips are leveled forward, hands on the hips, lifting the arms, grounding into both legs, pulling the belly in, a little bit of an arch. Coming back to center. Now again the hands on the hips, coming forward. Notice once you where you feel the first resistance, and then pause. Breathe. Lifting up, maybe going a little bit deeper. So allowing your body, give your body time to come into this intense stretch. And then releasing the hands either on the front leg or the blocks. Sometimes more is less, so more height is better. Steady breath. What's going on in the hips, in the low back? Maybe coming a little bit deeper. Releasing the head. Making sure that front knee is not locked, just straight. Bring the hands on the hips, lifting up. Right. And then coming forward, shaking the legs. And now we come back towards the first side. Maybe the blocks again around the front leg, hands on the hips. So hips level, feet on 2 tracks. We come forward, finding our way here into the forward fold of the pyramid. And then bringing the hands on the front leg or the block. And what is nice actually about the leg, you have so many more options. From here, that hand that is same side as the foot that is forward, in my case it's the left foot is forward, left hand on the low back. Then the right hand, the opposite hand stays on the low back. And then we try to lift that shoulder of the foot that is forward. And the block can help, can allow to bring the hand a little bit more forward, a little bit more to the side. Kind of working on having the hips more leveled, but really check in how it feels. So how deep do you want to go? Grounding into both heels, core engaged. And if you want, you can lift that arm. Take one more breath. and we release. Back to center, bending the knees, hands on the hips, lifting up, shaking, and we're switching legs. So the other side is forward. Feet about hip width apart, hips leveled, grounding into both feet. Coming forward into your pyramid. Releasing the hands, either on the leg, maybe on a block, maybe on 2 blocks, so whatever is available. Then bringing the same side hand on the low back. The opposite hand is on the block or the ground. And then we lift the same side shoulder of the leg that is forward. So twisting over that front leg. Any amount. Try to let the crown of the head reach forward. Maybe that arm lifts up. Take another breath. And we release. Bend the front knee and we lift up. And then we come out and shake. Hitting the blocks to the side. And then let's just release whatever we didn't, in case you build up any tension. So let's bounce. Bubble head, bouncing the shoulders, the legs, shaking. Getting soft in the shoulders, the hips, the legs. Right, and we release. Okay. And then from here we are coming down on the mat. Having the knees bent. And we are kind of coming close. We're running out a little bit of time, so I give you the choice of whatever you want to do right now. So I suggest to do a back bend. The back bend, it can be active, it can be supported. So when you bend the knees, have the feet underneath the knees, arms along the body, so pushing into the feet, pushing into the hips, pushing the hands down. The supported bridge would be having a block underneath the sacrum. Active bridge, you ground into the feet, you try to hug the legs together. So imagine, either use a block or imagine there's a beach ball between your knees. If you like, you can roll shoulders in, grab the outer edges of the mat, pull the mat apart. Take another breath. And from here we lift the arms over the head, we lift the heels and then slowly roll up. Roll down. Roll the hips down. And then the feet, we pull, walk them apart. And then we let the knees go from side to side. Windshield wiper. Back to center. Here figure 4. So lifting one leg and bringing that foot, that ankle in front of the other knee. Either staying here, just reaching back with that bent knee, back away from the shoulder. Or you lift the opposite foot and interlock fingers. And here reach back down, releasing the shoulders. So we did quite a few standing poses. So this is a nice, counter stretch for the IT bend, the outer hip. If you like, you can roll a little bit from side to side. And release. And we're switching legs. So maybe the version where that one foot stays down and you make it an active stretch by pushing that knee away from the shoulder, or you lift the leg and you interlock fingers, Relax the shoulders. Take a few breaths here. Maybe add the rolling. And release. And then for a spinal twist, bring the arms into a cactus, hugging the knees in, and then bring the legs over towards one arm. Or you do any spinal twist that works for your body. For this one, I often roll a little bit over, so my knees are stacked, the hips are stacked, the knees come more up, and then I bring the arm out into the twist. So for me, it feels good to let actually that arm hang. You have to check in how that shoulder feels. Would it be better for you to bring the arm in? Turning the head towards the opposite side. And then allowing gravity to take over, if that feels good in your body. So steady breath. Back to listening, just being. Come back to center. Come a little bit from side to side. And then over towards the other side. So the knees to the chest, over towards the arm, stacking the hips, the shoulders, and bringing the opposite arm now over towards the other side. Steady breath. Checking in. What does your body need? Do you want to bring a blanket or block underneath the legs? One more breath. And from here we slowly come back to center. Maybe roll a little bit, hug a little bit. And then we come into Shavasana. Maybe you use your blanket to cover yourself. You cover your eyes, straighten the legs, straighten the arms. And then make fists, tighten arms, legs, your whole body, and release. And then one more, making fists, tightening arms, legs, your whole body, make faces, and release. And then allow yourself to drop into the ground. Close your eyes, soften your face, let the feet roll to the outside. From the palms up. And then enjoy Shavasana, the stillness in your body and in your mind. If you like to keep a longer Shavasana, please feel free to stay where you are.
Otherwise, take a deep inhale and a long exhale. Inhale all the way in, hold your breath. And then exhale all the way out. Wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. Bring your arms over your head and come into a full body stretch. From here, bend your knees. Hug the knees in, if you like. And then roll over towards your favorite side. And then when you're ready, lift up to a sitting. Any sitting. Let's bring the hands to our heart. And we're closing with one round of Om. Let's all exhale. And fully inhale. And let's remember that we always have the choice to come back to our breath. Namaste.